11 from Cabinet of Wonders, Crossing Karloff Bridge. They soon reached the Vltava River, where they crossed the Karloff Bridge, which was a magnificent construction lined with statues of Bohemia heroes. The bridge was brand new. Prince Rodolfo had it commissioned to celebrate his graduation from the academy. He had named the bridge after his father. Some might say that this was unnecessary. After all, he had already changed the name of Argos University to Karloff University when he was 13 or so, but one can never flatter an emperor too much. Neil had no idea who any of the statues were supposed to be. He confessed that, like many Roma, he couldn't read and didn't know much about Bohemian history. Who cares about Gotcha history anyway? My people got better stories. Petra had to admit that this might be true, but she gladly told him about the statues, which was rare for her to be in a position of teaching anyone anything. Something. Who's that moony-eyed lass? He pointed to the statue of a woman holding a pail of water high. That's Lady Portia. 800 years ago, people used to burn anyone with magical powers at the stake. She convinced the tribunal of the Lion's Paw that this sort of thing had to be outlawed. What's the tribunal of the Lion's Paw? It's Bohemia's highest legal court. It's made up of 7 judges, who are picked by the prince. They have almost the final say on any legal matter in the country. Who gets the final say then? My goodness, has he been living under a rock? Astrophil's words buzzed in her mind. Don't make fun of him, she ordered the spider. She told Neil, the prince, the lion's paw recommends laws to the prince, and he decides whether he likes them or not. After a law was passed, Lady Portia revealed that she herself had magical talent. At first, people thought that she had pushed for the law only to protect herself, but it turns out that her talent was the ability to withstand any heat. She could suck on hot coals like candy. No one would have been able to burn her at the stake anyway, so it's clear that she fought for the law only out of the goodness of her heart. Neil shrugged. They could have drowned her instead. Next came Florian, Duke of Carlsbad. He founded the academy, said Petra. Then he left tons of money after he died to enlarge the school's castle. They added running water, Turkish baths, a theater, 3 hot air balloons, and a lot of other things they keep secret. They sought Emperor Vaclav the Clever, who looked shorter than Petra had always imagined. He's the reason why you can't attend the academy unless you belong to the gentry. Petra explained. His tribunal passed the law almost 200 years ago, when he was the only prince of Bohemia. This led to the Peasant Rebellion, which was basically suicide for the hill folk. Vaclav flattened the rebel forces. Their surrender was only accepted because they met the most important condition of the agreement. The rebels named everyone they knew with a magical power. Those people were arrested and never seen again. That's why we Roma live in wagons, Neil said. They're pretty useful for getting well away from a situation that's gone all kinds of bad. They came to the last statue, which was of Emperor Karl, who looked particularly handsome. What'd he do? Neil asked. I think he's most famous for how he became emperor. When his father, the emperor, was alive, Karl had one brother, the Prince of Hungary. Karl was the Prince of Austria. The Prince of Hungary and his father loved fried frog legs. One night they ate 60 fried frog legs and drank half a barrel of beer. They were dead the next day. The cook was accused of poisoning them and was executed. Then Karl became the emperor. I guess we're not supposed to think of that story when we look at his statue, but I can't remember anything else about him. They had reached the other side of the Vltava and began walking up the hill. Neil said that this area of Prague was called Malastrana. The air was fresher here. The shops had signs that were writing only with no pictures. The shopkeepers apparently thought that all their customers could read, or the shopkeepers did not want any customers who couldn't read. A young boy was sweeping up the street trash. The houses had red ceramic tiled roofs. Not one was made of thatch. The walls were painted in many soft colors, pale green, buttery yellow, pink, and sky blue. Stone angels decorated the corners of the houses, which had glass in every window. Petra was awed, but she commented on how beautiful everything. But when she commented on how beautiful everything was, Neil just said, I wouldn't mind getting inside of one of those houses. I bet there's a lot of shiny stuff to steal. I do not feel very well, Astrophel suddenly murmured. What's the matter? Are you hungry? Do you want some oil? Petra asked, focusing on the buzz in her mind as she recognized as Astrophel's presence. Anxiously, she realized that the buzz was fainter than it had been earlier. What was wrong? She had given him his usual dose of brassica oil that morning. No, I am not hungry. I do not know, dizzy perhaps. I am finding it hard to hang on to your ear. Petra wasn't sure what to do. This had never happened before. She wanted to pluck the spider down and carry him in her hand, but Neil was very perceptive, and she didn't want to take the chance that he would see Astrophil. Try to hold on just a little longer, Petra told the spider. To Neil, she said, Can we go faster? What's the rush? He looked at her quizzically. Then he noticed how anxiously she was biting her lip. Yeah, I guess we could hurry along some. Their pace quickened. Astrophil was quiet. When they reached the castle grounds, Neil pointed out Golden Alley, a row of tiny houses. Neil said that this was where the prince's foot soldiers lived. Normally, Petra would have giggled at the fact that people were living in homes that looked like painted hen houses, but she barely heard what Neil said. When they reached an impressive building with 3 large doors and soaring windows, Petra asked, Is this the castle? Neil laughed. It's the stables. One of our Ursari cousins work here. My sis and I usually meet here, so if one of us shows up earlier than the other, we can chat with Tabor. They stepped inside one of the smaller doors. Petra heard the low snorts of well-fed horses. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she saw a young woman in a blue-gray dress talking with a broad-shouldered man. Neil waved and rushed over, calling, Sarsan, Penna! Petra trailed behind slowly, not wanting to jostle Astrophil. The dark-skinned man clapped Neil on the shoulder and then walked away, shovel in hand. As Petra approached, Neil's sister seemed to be a dream that she could see with increasing clarity. Her black hair was braided and pinned up in a crown, showing the smooth lines of a slender neck. Her skin was light, not as pale as Petra's, but a deliciously creamy color. Her eyes tilted up slightly at the corners and were the shiny color of black lacquer. Neil spoke rapidly in Romany, gesturing toward Petra. She could hear him repeat one word over and over, Pena. He seemed to be calling his sister this, so Petra assumed that this was her name. When Neil paused and said in Czech, This is Petra, she held out her hand, feeling proud of herself for understanding part of her conversation, even if just a little bit. Petra said, Hello, Pena. Brother and sister broke into peals of laughter. The young woman managed to regain control first and shook Petra's hand. Hello, Penna, she echoed Petra's words. Penna means sister, Neil said, still snickering. Don't worry, Petra, said the woman in a musical voice that gave no hint of an accent. It's a nice way to be greeted. If everyone thought of me as a sister, my life would be a very happy one indeed. My name is Sadira, but you can call me Sadie. After all, we are like family now. Neil says that he stole your purse, but that you didn't turn him over to the law. I'm not sure which I find harder to believe, that you caught him or that he's not now rotting in a jail cell. She frowned at her brother. You shouldn't take such risks, Neil. I didn't, he protested. She was an easy prey. She was flashing where she kept her purse to all and sundry and wasn't paying attention to anything but a beggar girl. If I hadn't pinched her purse, someone else would have. Obviously, she's not such an easy prey if she managed to catch you. But how could I know that? He spread his hands. She looked fresh from the hills, like it was her first day in Prague. Well, it is, Petra admitted. I've been hoping to find work here. Yes, Neil said you wanted to meet me. He said you seemed interested that I work at the castle. Is there something I can do? I would like to repay you for keeping my little brother's neck out of the hangman's noose. Sadie pinched Neil's cheek hard, and he made a face. Could you help me get a job at the castle? At that moment, Petra felt Astrophil fluttered on her ear. Petra, he began. Then he fell, tumbling over her shoulder like a shooting star. Petra snagged him out of the air and stared with a panicky feeling at the spider on her palm. Sadie and Neil peered in amazement at the spider. What is it? Sadie breathed. What's it doing? Neil asked Neil. The spider's legs were twitching. I think relief flowed over Petra like cool water as she suddenly realized what Astrophil's problem was. I think he's sleeping.